I wrote the story last week about JAKIB Media putting together kind of a really good lineup of Derrick Gunn, Mike Miss, Seth Joyner, and Devan Kaney, who I think is going to be the host. And then you wrote kind of a follow-up to it because you're on vacation about, these guys could kind of go toe-to-toe with NBC Sports Philly, not from like a viewership perspective, because it is very easy just to flip over to Comcast or NBC Sports Philly than it is to, go on your iPad and dial it up and get to YouTube and JAKIB Media or go through social media and whatnot. But it'll be interesting to see the kind of viewership that I think JAKIB's going to get. And I think a lot of people are going to be watching this. Our Eagles fans in general, ready to kind of not necessarily cut the cord, but are they more willing to go on YouTube for maybe personalities they like more than flipping over to Barkan and only Barrett Brooks right now? We're still 50% waiting for 50% of that desk to be filled. What do you think about this?
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I think if last year was kind of a like, we're going to enter the scene and, provide an alternative here and get our feet wet with the post-game show, then this year they're making a stronger push for it, because last year they did it with Devan and Gunner and Mark Farzetta.
Lane was supposed to be on it. Yeah.
Was supposed to be on it. I guess he missed games when he had his thing, but and John McMullen was down there doing stuff from the locker room. So, but this is like a concentrated push. I mean, it's a good group, I mean, Joyner is respected as a former Philadelphia Eagle. Derrick Gunn has a lot of respect. Obviously, he's a longtime writer. Mikey Miss, veteran, respected, former radio guy. I mean, that's a good pool for that group of talent. They even went so far as to do a press conference with the four of them there, with Deuces Rogers hosting it, because it's going to air. It's also going to simulcast on 6abc.com. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious to see how many people go to that, because it's like, like you're saying, the familiarity, just like flipping, pressing like 576 on your remote if you got Fios or whatever it is on Comcast, versus
847.
847 versus pulling it up on YouTube or, scrolling through your phone and clicking on the link or whatever. I think that's one of the advantages that like traditional media always has. Like, you talk about podcasts and you talk about listening to music or whatever, but when you get in your car and you turn your car on, like WIP or 97.5 comes on, because that's just what was there, and like you got to do an extra step to turn the Bluetooth on or like plug a cord in or some shit, so yeah, it's just I'm curious. It's kind of like a turning point for post game live, because Ray Didinger's not there, and Derrick Gunn used to like grab guys in the locker room. They've got the resources. They're always going to have a resource advantage over JAKIB, but I don't know how many people make that jump. But it's interesting to see that be a thing. I also want to know what the portion of people is too who just go to a different game.
Yeah, I don't watch post game. Like I'm in that bucket where I'm like, okay, the 425 game's coming up. It's probably the Cowboys versus Buccaneers or something like that. Like I'd rather watch the America's game of the week or the CBS game, whatever it was on the 4, or I'll just put on Red Zone. Yeah. I mean,
it makes a lot of sense.
There is an appetite for Eagles stuff. I mean, if you go and you type Eagles into the YouTube search bar, like there are some guys. I think Lloyd Brunson's one of the guys who does Eagles stuff. There's obviously other Eagles creators and whatnot who get like significant. Broads, he obviously did all 4 sports, but there's dudes who do get significant numbers on YouTube. So it'll be interesting to see if they can and even JAKIB's built up their platform very respectively. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how they can grab viewership, probably a younger demographic.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's a good push by them. I'm interested. They've had some turnover in the ranks before. They were doing the Harry Mays and Aton show with Barrett, and now Barrett's doing the Sports Take show with Gunner and Rob. So Gunner's appearing on like multiple JAKIB Media, platforms. So I don't, I'm not sure. And they do Birds the 365 with Jody and John as well. And then they got Dan Cilio doing. I guess that's a national show. But yeah, I mean, they've got like a multitude of offerings here. So it's just part of the continuing theme of like new media, new platforms providing an alternative. So.